Oh, wow. It's 3:07 p.m. It is July 25th, Friday afternoon. And it's been a while. I posted a video earlier this morning and I'm back with another update. Okay, now, I think I had mentioned earlier, I was planning on going to the library, but, that did not quite pan out. I got a little distracted and I ended up working on some of my website here at home. Okay. Something keeps telling me I should go to the library for the rest of the day to get out of the house. Perhaps that's not a bad idea. But let me kind of tell you what's going on and how things are. And I want these religious people to understand the kind of inconveniences. And this is something they've done on purpose. Okay. The purpose of blacklisting people, shadow banning, ostracizing people is for no other reason other than to kill a person, period. Okay. So I had talked to Donald Trump about this religious issue a few weeks ago. And so I just recently published my website. I instead of making a formal announcement, trying to attract, customers and people who just are supporting or whatever, I have decided to push back the announcement date because I have not established myself as a company on social media. And see, this is where you can actually see, who you can communicate with, and also keep people updated on the progress of your company. Like, I'm somebody who could easily write updates or thought-provoking conversations, that relate to work, business, industry, the internal, the external parts of businesses. Okay, so I think social media sites are obviously an essential tool to have for anybody who is operating any work related thing in the 2000s, meaning like this is the year 2000. It's a lot different than the time periods where I was a lot used to. So and then also I understand that a lot of social media accounts, they have a lot of ghost accounts, fakery, phonery, fraudulent stuff that's going on online. So I have to be very careful. Okay. And so why I'm making this video is I'm trying to get the attention of the religious groups that were trying to create so many problems for me. Okay. And these people have created so many problems for me. Me and my son got into a brief discussion this afternoon. Or was it this afternoon or later this morning? I don't remember. But I wanted to get a second opinion on my work, my website. And as you know, I'm offering two different services, managerial or administrative. And I also offer remote and temporary and, like a slot type service. Like, let's just say while I'm here in Bakersfield, somebody wants me to cover a position for like 3 months. Okay. I could do that too. So I was thinking, okay, how do I get people to communicate with me? Because that is not something that you can just handle by a click of a button. Like, I understand that, maybe somebody might need me for 3 hours, but I have to make a certain amount of income. So I might have to work for a bunch of different people in different choppy type jobs. That's fine as long as I have enough clients to fill up my 40-hour week. Okay. But my main goal right now is to get money from the human targets. That's really my fundraiser to get home. Okay. So my son he came in my room. I showed him my website. And then he started talking about the Swan Song Manifesto. I do not believe that he didn't like the idea of me attaching the Swan Song Manifesto to my website. Because he felt as though the Swan Song Manifesto is not, something that directly makes money. And I see his point to a certain degree, but I also understand that my website is a part of my history. So I'm in the process of like, either deleting it or keeping it. I decided to stop my work for the day because I felt as though I was getting drained because I talked about me having to be around people. And I feel like that's all I have to look forward to, just like being around scummy people and all this other stuff. So that kind of made me so like, what, I'll just put it off till, next week. Okay. Because, like I said, when I think about the kind of people I've been around, you kind of like, oh shit, I do not want to have to deal with that again. I don't. And I understand that creating website advertising is just going to make you start coming into contact with more people. And I am so sick and tired of just, I already told you, if you have to explain to adults that you got to take care of, you got to prevent crust from getting on your feet, then I'm not dealing with the best kind of people. So I need to be around, people who are somewhat more understanding. So I got demoralized. I'm like, you know what? Okay, we'll do this tomorrow. So what I did was, in order to contact me for services, I'm basically saying just send a quick email. I will be checking my emails and getting on, making sure that, if people are contacting me via email, that they're contacting me via email. Okay. And just instead of like clicking a button, because what I was doing is I was testing how my site was turning out. Like if you click this button, either if you select either service, what does it take to you to, what does it look like? And I will say, I talked to my son about Wix being a part of my targeting. And he was saying that Wix is a website that I purchased, okay? And it's supposed to be set up to where, a lot of websites, if you build a website, you have to understand things like coding and stuff. So Wix is supposed to be more simple. But I had mentioned that they assigned a customer service representative to me that I feel was not very forthcoming with their assistance, okay? And anytime I deal with anything negative, customer service related, at this point, I'm blaming everything on the targeting. Everything. Okay. So I feel as though that this person failed to be inadequate. He was not competent enough or whatever. And everything that goes on, I always blame it on the targeting. Okay. Because this was done in churches. This was a widespread issue to be deliberately, create setbacks for me. Okay. And these dumb people are following these kind of orders. And I'm letting these religions know that there is no way in hell that you did not know what you were doing. Okay, so this is the end result. So I was explaining to my son that my business model is different in the ways that it is, okay? Because most people who want to start a business online, they get online, they mess with the search engine optimization, they get visibility, they could whatever, and they just go on with their business. Okay, in my situation, these churches went to great lengths, okay, to make so that other people will not connect with me. My family ostracized me and everything else. So I had to sit here and make an addressment or announcement to President Trump and talking about, getting these churches on board because they're the ones who are responsible for it. Okay, when you're a targeted individual, you need to find out what the source is. Okay, and for some people, their source could be something simple. It could be an in-law, it could be a family member. Sometimes parents do this to their own children, okay? But the network is not that big. It's just maybe a parent, maybe a couple business owners. They're preventing their kids from working because they only want their kids to work if they're supporting them. Okay, that's a form of human trafficking too, okay? But I'm a part of a huge trafficking network, one that, envelops a lot of celebrity names and so on and so forth, okay? And a lot of these celebrities, like I said, I'm trying to move on from my resentments from them. But these are not the most intelligent people. They're not the most, the reason why I say this is because a lot of these people follow the instructions of handlers. And some of these people have been distanced from having any sort of the ability to have knowledge as to what's right and wrong. And this is why I would say they adopt a criminal type behavior. You know what I mean? This is one of the reasons why you see all these ghost accounts on Facebook, because I do believe that the celebrity network, unfortunately, is behind all that. Okay, so anyway, I got on here because I wanted to share my little update. Okay, so what happened in the last video is I was supposed to go to the library and work on my website. I did work a little bit on my website. I just added, if somebody's interested in contacting me, contact me via email and I will respond, because I would have to respond to you via phone or email anyway to get all the details like hours and stuff like that. My goal is to just make 40 hours. I like to have a regular 40-hour job, whether that's doing different jobs or whatever. But I really did get excited about the last video I made when I thought about working outside of the city of Bakersfield remotely, because I guess it's because, like I said, unfortunately I've dealt with some pretty, I can't even tell you the kind of people that I've dealt with. So, I'm hoping to meet better stock, I guess. Anyway, so I was explaining to my son, if you're a targeted individual, these people, the religions, okay, are fully responsible for my struggles. Okay, that means that I have to sit here and work 10 times as hard to try to get people's attention, to try to get connections, and all this other stuff because of their brainwashing. Okay. And so I was explaining this to my son, and I do believe that my son already knows, okay, because, I understand that he took an oath, and and he's never going to sell this to me. And I'm going to tell these religious people, don't you ever put that kind of division in my home again. Okay, I don't need your demonic influence into my house. Okay, you really are ignorant, and I don't appreciate what you've done. Okay, I wish I could execute you, and I know a lot of your scum associates have already kicked the bucket, and good. Okay, like I said, the wheel of death continues to roll. Anyway, Yeah, I'm pissed off right now, right? Because I'm like, okay, what am I going to do for the rest of the day? And I don't want to work on work related stuff. Okay, I'm burnt out. Okay, just explaining all this to my son made me burn out. Okay, so anyway, and like I said, I used to not be this way. I used to love going to work. Like if I could be at work and just like go about my business, I was a happy person. Working for shitty companies, okay, like for Rex Laverne, Steve Murray, and all these incompetent people who want to play games and trivialize your life, trivialize your skills, trivialize your experience, and want to play games. This is their game. Okay. And then what they end up doing is they create financial problems for you and they're slow to fix it. Okay. This is one of the reasons why I cannot tell you how happy I am when I find out perps get what they deserve. They deserve the death penalty. Okay. And I'm serious. When I talk about this stuff to the White House, why can't we? Why can't we execute people who do this sort of stuff? Why can't we have public executions for these sort of people? Okay, yeah, I'm getting really pissed off. But yeah, if I had the ability, and some people might think, oh, that's rough, that's harsh, that's too much. No, it is not. Okay, when I think about the years that I have lost off of my life because of idiotic people like these people, okay, I would say the death penalty is more than fair. More than fair. Okay? And I don't believe it. There's any innocent bystanders when it comes to, you call it, human trafficking. Anybody who's guilty of human trafficking, they should be, either executed by firing squad or they should be executed by guillotine. Okay? And people are like, oh, I didn't think Maria was political. Yeah, I keep a lot of stuff to myself. Okay? I cannot stand the way that, society has become. It's always been wicked, but now it's just outright, beyond wicked. Anyway. So what ended up happening was I got deterred by a phone call. Okay, and let me tell you what happened in this phone call. Okay, somebody called me and said, they sent me a text or called me or whatever, letting me know that some money was deposited into my bank account via Zelle. Okay, I do not use Zelle. I'm a Cash App type gal, right? So me and my son, we use Cash App to, if I need my son's half of the rent, he usually Cash Apps it to me, okay? And vice versa. If he borrows, we do this sort of Cash App exchange. I have no need for any other app, okay? So this person said that they sent me some money via Zelle. Okay. Now the only Zelle thing that I do think I have Zelle. Maybe I do have it on my phone, but I never used it. Okay. I find the weird thing is that Zelle is an app that's offered for my credit union. Okay. And that's all I know. Okay. And I know that this person said that they sent money to me via Zelle based on my phone number. Now, I remember downloading Zelle on my phone because I think I was going to send money to my son in a different alternative way, but we didn't end up using it, okay? I do not like Zelle, okay? I like Cash App. I love the simplicity of Cash App. I'm going to stay with Cash App. So I kept thinking, okay, how in the world did you send me Zelle? Because I'm not familiar with it. I kept thinking, am I supposed to have a Zelle address or like a Zelle number like you do have Cash App? But she's like, no, he was saying, no, you use your phone number. Okay, fine. All right. So he said his girlfriend accidentally sent me money via Zelle. So I got online, checked my account, and sure enough, I see like $600 something on my account, right? So I tried to call the credit union that I belong to let them know, because I wasn't going to sit here and mess with my Zelle application or anything. And the reason why is because I understand that there are a lot of sophisticated type of scams going on, okay? And I'm not taking any chances. As a victim of I'm going to let these religious idiots know, okay? As a victim of human trafficking, I cannot trust anybody, okay? Now, I could have just got on Zelle and refunded this person's money. I have no idea what goes on in the back end of those things. It could be, maybe I'm making too much a big deal out of this. How will I know that if I go to Zelle, that something weird is not going to happen to where it reveals my information or something? I just don't want to handle it. So I tried to call the bank to have them reverse the transaction. And see, I understand on Fridays, banks are usually very busy and they don't answer the phone. Okay, but because I got a message saying that I was number 20 in line or whatever, I don't know if they're lying. Meaning, like, because when you're a victim of human trafficking because of these stupid religious people, okay, and you need to contact the Valley Credit Union, let them know. And I'm not saying that they are or they're not. Okay, I'm just letting them know to be very, very careful when it comes to dealing with me. Because they might have not answered the phone just because they were trying to give me the runaround because these religious people told me to do that. Okay, so this is what I'm telling you. As a victim of human trafficking, I'm taking responsibility for nothing. Nothing. Okay. my phone is recorded showing that I tried to call the Valley Credit Union, Valley Strong Credit Union. Okay, I tried at least 2 times. I think I did. Okay. Now, if this person who sent me the money accidentally, he said that his girlfriend does not speak English. Now, mind you, these people are in Florida. Okay, so maybe she's like Cuban or something. Maybe that's a possibility. She may not, right? Okay, fine. So then a little bit later, the lady calls, his girlfriend calls, right? And she's sitting here speaking perfect English to me, asking about her money. Okay. Meanwhile, they sent me some pictures to prove that they sent me the money or whatever. And the pictures that I received, let me show you what they said. It shows my name and it shows my number. So if this was supposed to be confirmation that that this was supposed to be a confirmation thing or whatever, it seems like they would have saw my name and my number, that it was not the person that they were supposed to send it to. At this point, you're a victim of human trafficking, you have to understand, even if it's located in a different state, because this was religious targeting, that means that there's churches in California, there's churches in Bakersfield, there's churches in Florida. I don't know if this person is legitimate or he's just trying to mess with something. And the point is, you know what? That's not my problem. It's not my problem. I'm not going to spend his money, but I'm not going to sit here and try to call the credit union either. I'm just going to let it go. Oh, well, because this is my attitude that I'm taking as a targeted individual, because these religious people did what they did. Believe me, I don't want his money in my account. I told my son, I do not want his money in my account. Okay. But, the credit union, either they're not answering the phone, okay, and whatever the case is, I'm not relying on them, okay. And I do think it's important for the president to let the entire state county of Bakersfield know that if they have they need to be able to accommodate me the way that I need to be accommodated, unless of course they're going to be ending up being blamed for being a part of a trafficking ring. This is not me trying to, throw my weight around or anything like that. But see, I am a victim of human trafficking, and everybody in this community knows that. Okay, so if I don't get the proper treatment, the only thing I can assume is that Valley Strong Credit Union is a part of the trafficking ring. Otherwise, I would have picked up their phone. I've had the runaround with phone calls before in this community. So there's no way in the world that I can know for sure that this credit union is not doing the same thing. And at this point, I don't really care. So if my money is stuck in the account, in my bank account, right? Oh, well. That's how I'm handling from this point on. I am no longer, that's too bad that you sent me the money. And my son said this too, and I agree with him. I was not going to sit here and transfer the money myself manually. Okay. I would prefer the bank handle that. They're not available. Oh, well, I'm not going to spend my afternoon trying to, give this person their money back. I find it very suspicious that his girlfriend's not supposed to speak English, and she calls me and he sends me a confirmation of money that was sent to me with my name and my phone number on it. It seems like when they saw that would have prompted them to not send it to the wrong person. So I don't know. So it is what it is. Anyway, the intuitive messages that I've been getting is that self-love is becoming accepted. I understand that it's been accepted in a lot of other places, but I understand that there was some sort of attack against me. I think this is one of the reasons why, just one of the many reasons why the bus driver decided to, not pick me up. Yes, I would say that the GIS bus, this particular employee, I'm not going to blame the entire organization, but, if you have the power, which I do believe the president does, they need to let people know here in this community, if you see me coming, I need to be treated correctly. Okay. Otherwise, I'm going to blame you and put you in this category. And I have every right to. I have every right to. That means, like I said, if I go to a store and the clerk gives me attitude, don't be surprised if I'm going to be sitting here on this video, making videos talking about your name, saying which you did wrong. You know why? Because when it comes to human trafficking, I am not taking any chances. Okay. Human trafficking is a very dangerous thing. Okay, and it's too bad about this particular person. I hope, unfortunately, the credit union didn't they didn't take my phone call. I'm not going to sit here and wait for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. They did send me, my credit union did send me a notification via email saying that money was deposited. Okay, but they also have a thing where, if you were to reply, it would go to an email address that's not connected to anything. It says no reply. So all I can say is, oh, well. Like I said, it would be very wise to not make any mistakes with me in the future, because if you deposit money in my account, I'm not going to return it to you. Okay, especially if I'm trying to get in touch with the bank, and the bank's not doing what, and I'm not saying the bank is doing this on purpose, because like I said, it is Friday, and on Fridays, banks tend to have more transactions on Friday than any other day, I'm pretty sure, okay? But at the same time, unfortunately, when you're a victim of human trafficking, nobody is innocent. And I have the right to sit here and blame Valley Strong Credit Union. I have the right to blame everybody. You know why? Because the churches are nationwide. All right? So this is what I need you to understand. These Christian people, these vigilantes, are a problem. They are a big problem. This is one of the reasons why I'm very glad and applaud these people for reporting people so they can get thrown out of the organization. You know what I hate about Christian people? And now I'm going to be very upfront about how I feel about Christianity. I get the feeling that they're crybaby whiners. And the reason why I say this is because they're always acting like, oh, they don't like us because we're Christian, and they act like they're so persecuted. You're not persecuted just because willy-nilly. You're persecuted because you are a dangerous group to society. You're a danger to society. Okay? Just your ignorance alone causes you to be a problem. Okay? I'm glad that people understand self-love. Okay? The other message I'm getting is that I am a role model. I think that's great. I've never meant to be one. Okay, I meant to live a very quiet, peaceful life. Come here, make a decent wage, send my son. Be a supporter for my son. I was hoping that I could be able to send my son to a nice college and all that stuff. At one point in my life, I think maybe had I been in a better area where I could have had more appreciation for my skills instead of having to be around this garbage like Murray Family Farms and all this stuff, I could have had a better way of living. But, oh well, it is what it is. Okay, the other message I'm getting is that people are understanding the importance of beauty. Like I said, you do not have to be a fashion model, but yes, you should take care of yourself. Okay? You shouldn't be walking around with crust on your feet, walking around thinking that it's normal to be sloppy, wearing, this kind of attire to the workplace. And see, this is what I've been dealing with for a very long time. I've been dealing with a lot of ignorant people attacking me. Okay, as if, that is what it is. I have the right to live for what I want to live for. And I used to really love working, and it's so sad that, just working for bad people could do this to you. Many years ago, if I would have had the opportunity, I would have looked forward to having my own website. You know what I mean? But I've dealt with like some of the most garbage people. You know what I mean? The most garbage people. Okay. Some people think that I'm arrogant. I am not arrogant. But I am somebody who does set standards for myself. And let me tell you the importance of raising your nose up at certain kinds of people, okay? People either elevate you or they make you reduce quality, okay? I want to be around people who are either my equals or better. And I'm not talking about racial. I'm talking about in quality, in terms of quality. What do they add to our life? What do, as a group or together, what do you add to my life? Okay, are you somebody who has destructive behavioral patterns and stuff like that? Because I don't want to go down that road. If you're somebody who doesn't know how to, manage things like your anger, you think you can lash out at people, attack people, because you want something that they have, and you think it's. I want to be with upstanding people, not people with criminal minds. Okay, and unfortunately, this is all I've encountered in Bakersfield. Okay, and I have to say, those white people that told me not to come to this town, they were dead accurate. And I know when white people say things about their own people, I guess you really are that bad. Okay? Whew. Anyway. So, yes, I do believe that people should have a certain standard. You know what I mean? I'm friendly to everybody, okay? But I'm not going to sit here and, invite people over to my house for meals, sit down, have meals with them, go and plan things, reveal my secrets, my innermost thoughts to just anybody. You know what I mean? Yeah, I do have standards, you know what I mean? And I'm tired of having to, it's been a nightmare for me, having to deal with these people. The message I get, and this is on a very spiritual level, it's okay to be free, totally okay to block out the outside world, and this is what I need to do, okay? Meaning, I am only consumed with my stuff. So one of the reasons why I resent this person by accidentally sending me their money is because, I resent it because Now I was sitting here feeling bad, like, okay, I want to make sure this person's money gets returned to them, but then I don't know if they're trustworthy or not. Like, if I was to return that money to that person, how do I know it's not a way of fishing for financial information or something? I'm very, very, and then I feel like, okay, well, you know what? The customer service over at Valley Strong Credit Union, nobody should be on hold for 20, you should never be number 20 something anyway when it comes to customer service. That's my personal opinion, okay? I really don't if you have more than 5 customers on hold, I guess you need to get somebody else to help answer the phones. You know what I mean? And see, I'm very like meticulous when it comes to running a business, so it's like, yeah, I don't excuse that. Like, oh, you're number 20. If anybody hears that, a customer hears that they're number 20 something on the phone, like I said, that's kind of a failure on the company's part. So I don't know if Valley Strong was trying to set me up or they were part of it or what. Like I said, when it comes to these intricate trafficking networks, okay, I would not be surprised if George was a part of it or he's a perp. And he could very well be somebody who just accidentally sent me $600, okay? Whatever the case is, it's not my problem. My son convinced me it's not my problem. I was talking to my son. I kept thinking, I want to do the right thing. I want to make sure they get their money back, okay? So I was like, but then again, like I said, when it comes to these businesses, I cannot trust them when you're in a targeted network. The message I get is that people believe that I'm going to do well with Gordon's occupational engineering. I have not officially announced it yet. Something I keep getting these messages about wearing my ankh. Okay, and I'm like, why? Why? I think it's because I'm being recognized as an Egyptian. And I know there's been a lot of talk. White Egyptians have been whitewashed. Like, I know they've showed people like what's her name? I remember Elizabeth Taylor was, Cleopatra and all this other stuff. And I remember talking to people about, people talking about the Egyptians were black and all this other stuff. I had mentioned this, my experience with people bringing these kind of conversations up and my attitude at the time. Like, I always felt like, whether they are or not, I am who I am, and I was content with that. But yeah, it is cool knowing that I'm an Egyptian. You know what I mean? A true Egyptian. You know what I mean? True Egyptian. Yes, Egyptians were black. And this is one of the things that I think a lot of the white people were upset about. And it really, like I said, when it comes to the white race, I've dealt with a lot of people attacking me. And the thing is like, I don't have it in my heart to be anything like you. You know what I mean? I don't feel as though I need to retaliate. I would never damage your property. I don't do that kind of stuff. Okay. But I see what it's important for people to understand is that the kind of evil that exists in white people cannot be denied because you acted it out in front of everybody. Okay, a long time ago, you used to be able to instigate these sort of racial issues and then act like, oh, you're playing the race card, like somebody was making it up. There's no way in the world you can say I'm making it up because you enacted it out in public for the world to see. Okay, so it's like now we're dealing with something that is very truthful now. Okay, and like I said, there's no way in hell that I could ever do this kind of stuff that you could. Okay, I really do believe that you guys are infested with demons. Anyway, what else do I want to say? Yes, I keep getting this message. Go to the library. I am so burnt out on everything work related, I cannot even tell you. Okay, so it's like something that I keep getting this intuitive message. Go to the library, finish your stuff, and this is a spiritual message. Okay, and I don't like to back talk my spiritual message because I really believe these messages come from God. But right now, the way I feel, I am burnt out. I am burnt out on work-related issues. I am burnt out on the dishonesty of other people. See, I want to be. When they say integrity, I really do have integrity. That's not to say I'm perfect. I'm not. Okay, but I am starting to love myself more. Like recognize, and this is not arrogant, but it's like I recognize. When I was younger, I used to feel really guilty about things I would do. I would feel really guilty, and now this issue made me understand that I am not perfect, but there's no way in the world I could ever say that I have a kind of conscience that you have. I could never say that I have ever had blood on my hands. I could never say that I have caused anyone hardship. I am close to God, and it shows that. And I hate to use the word God because, every time I've met some of these phony Christians, this is what they would use. It's their jargon. I like to say the divine. But yes, I'm close to the divine. So the message I'm getting right now is that People feel as though I'm going to be looking forward to any more blessings. And see, the sad part is that people look at blessings as going to work. And see, I have an aversion to going to work now. Okay. And now I feel like, okay, going to work is something I have to do. And I hate that attitude. I hate that. I used to love going to work. I used to love going to work. Like, it was so much fun for me. I'd wake up in the morning. My entire day was just like, I'm looking forward to it. If I had a special project, that was fun for me. And don't get me wrong, I can still make things fun, but it's just because I dealt with negative experiences. I dealt with garbage. I was telling my son, okay, in my website, I'm trying to summarize what I'm about. I'm also trying to attract my own tribe. I'm also trying to give them an understanding, which I know most people do. People know who I am because of these religious people. Okay, and I am trying to also set the pathway for other targeted individuals to try to help them understand, okay, if you're trying to work, maybe you need to create a website. And maybe I'm sure a lot of targeted individuals have far more better website building skills than I do, because really mine aren't that great. Okay, and I would say that I had to muddle my way through it because I don't believe that Wix, I don't believe that they're good at customer service. Okay, I think, okay, I'm going to say they're not good at customer service. Okay, and it could be the fact that I was a targeted individual. Okay, but I also look at, how you can contact them, and it doesn't seem like it's a very easy, convenient thing. Now, if I was a company that was like Wix, I would definitely have a 1-800 number to where you can get in communication immediately. Why? Because this is dealing with people's businesses, something that's an important component of how they live. Okay, so which means that people need to be able to have the accessibility of customer service at their fingertips. See, and this is what I do. I evaluate businesses. So if I was to have to recommend somebody, unfortunately, I would not recommend Wix. I wouldn't recommend them. Okay, I only using Wix, right? Because I have no coding experience with websites. I know very little about building websites. So this is what it is, and that's the only reason what it is. Okay, but if I found other options, or if I found a trustworthy person, then I can say, hey, I'd pay you to do my website. And of course, if I had the money to pay somebody to do that, I would definitely do that. Okay, so let me explain a little bit more what's going on. I had to modify how you select services. I did not like the info, like if you hit the info button, because each service has the info button, right? And I went on my Google browser to pretend like I was a customer. What happens? I wanted to fully test my site, and I really did not like, how it looked on the other end. So I'm like, okay, you know what? The best thing for them to do is just reach out via email. I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, I don't like how that looks, so I have to work around it. Okay, and who's to say? Maybe, I'm the odds might be to where I find a decent and honest person that can help me with my website in the future. Okay, but like I said, I will not hold my breath. Okay, I honestly do believe that I deal with a lot of wicked people, evil people. What other message do I have? Okay, I get the intuitive message that there's a lot of women who want to connect with me. I cannot connect with anybody until I get this whole social media thing out. And right now, I feel drained about the whole social media thing. Right now, I know I get a lot of contacts on Facebook, but Facebook is more personal than it is business. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, which ones? I know people. I've been reading like recommended websites, or not websites, yeah, I guess so, social media sites, okay, for businesses. And I know they do mention Twitter, you know what I mean, and a couple other ones that I don't recognize. Okay, and like I said, let me tell you, this is another disadvantage of being a target individual, is the fact that these people created rumors about me. These religious people were saying don't communicate with the person. These people tried to put me under isolation on wide scale, all because they viewed me as somebody who values beauty. I have the right to value beauty. I have the right to value beauty, okay? I'm getting tired of the infertility problems of the white race becoming everyone else's problem. That's not my fucking problem. Okay? If you can't, breed normally, that's not my fucking problem. Okay? What else do I want to say? I am highly regarded, respected, and protected by elites in power. I want to tell you, everybody, thank you. Okay. And I don't know why, but I want to give a special shout out to JD Vance. And I don't know why. I just do. I just want to say hello. How are you doing? Because you'd been in my mind. I don't know. Maybe it's because you have that little face. I don't know. It's kind of, it looks innocent. Okay. So I get the intuitive message. This has something to do with my dolls being enchanted. Yes, I do believe they probably are enchanted. Okay. And I know that there's a lot of people who were Christians who ended up dying in this war. Okay. Who want to hang out with Maria. Okay, I get a lot of sympathetic souls that are around me a lot of times, okay? And they are sorry because they recognize me as a savior. And as somebody who's never been a savior fanatic, because I have not ever been, I realized throughout all my incarnations, I have always been a strong person. I have always been a strong person in all my incarnations. So whereas other groups of people gather and talk about, is this person the Messiah? Is this person the Savior? Or this person does this and that person does that. I have never been a small person to have to be petty and think about those sort of things. I have always been somebody who has been very strong, stronger than the most people, and this is what makes me a Savior. Okay? Blows me away. You know what I mean? When I was younger, I used to think Savior's just ripped out of the sky, like Jesus is coming, and that's how it was. But no, that's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. All right, what else? Okay. When it comes to my website, I will probably, officially announce it on Saturday. Okay. Now, when it comes to, like I said, the social media thing, I still want to sleep on that a little bit. It's not something that I feel like I can just make it, because I don't want to make like 5 different social media accounts. I just want one account. That's all I want. I remember I wanted to share this. Oh yeah, these religious groups were going around telling people not to help me. Okay, this could have been one of the reasons why the bus driver wasn't going to pick me up. They missed playing that game, and this is one of the reasons why I addressed the president about the genocide plan that these ignorant religious people were doing. And I remember when I was leaving Murray Family Farms, I was talking to Vicki Murray, and Vicki Murray said, well, I'm not going to help you. And I kept thinking, what did I do wrong? And the reason I got those intuitive messages is because all of these people, including the Murrays, okay, they feared my business acumen. They knew that I was somebody who was more skilled than they were. They knew that I understood how business worked more than they did. And they were also jealous of my beauty. Okay. A lot of white people feel very jealous over dark skinned people's beauty. And I'll tell you why. We do not age the same way that white people do. We are on a completely different time level. This is me. And don't get me wrong. When I look at myself, I'm like, ooh, I need to patch up these. Because you look at the picture on my website, you can see my gray hair. Okay. I have not. There's some black dye sitting in my hallway just waiting to be used, okay? But I look at myself and I'm like, yeah, I can see I'm an older woman. I can see that. But when you compare me to white people, yeah, black people have always aged slower than white people, okay? And because white people wanted to make this a contest, they were, bullying me because they didn't want people to see me, okay? Because one thing I'm going to tell you what it is when it comes to looks, okay? Looks are confirmation and proof that you live a good life. This is the truth. Okay. Just like, I wear like a little denture plate, right? To cover my teeth. Okay. I've had a lot of dental problems when I was growing up. Part of the reason is because I had acid reflux. Another part of the reason is because my teeth never grew in the way that they're supposed to. I have baby teeth, right? I had baby teeth, and these teeth are very soft. They're not like adult teeth, okay? So I understand that, yes, in order to fix that, you have to get it like a dental plate, because it looks kind of weird if you were just like kind of smile and there were teeth missing, right? So I understand you want to get those things fixed, right? Because if when people don't have teeth, it looks like you're unkempt. Okay. So yes, your looks are important. All right. And so they were trying to squash that out because they felt threatened by it. Because if you live a good life, you're going to be able to see that. This is one of the reasons why I say, when people say they're educated, I'm like, no, I'm not buying it. No offense. Okay. Because, I understand people can get out of control when it comes to their health, and they can fall into certain eating patterns. Okay. But to me, if you're overweight, don't tell me you're educated. It is what it is, okay? So, anyway, and I'm just telling the truth. And see, this is one of the reasons, the message I'm getting right now is, by divine providence, I have cursed many to their deaths, Anyone I want dies, period. That's the message I get. I was dealing with they wanted to make sure that a lot of women were going to bully me. Okay, and see, the reason why I don't get involved with stupid girl games is because I understand monogamy is not natural. I will never fight over a guy. And so I think they wanted me to boo-hoo over Elon Musk. Yeah, I thought Elon Musk was cute. You know what I mean? But the thing is that, let's just say, for example, Elon Musk was indeed a guy. Question mark. Okay? Let's just say that he was, right? That doesn't mean he's monogamous. He's obviously he was involved with polygamy. If I was a girly girl, like wanted to, like when I was young, when I was a teenager, I was a girly girl. I wanted to get married. I wanted to wear the little apron, the little housewife stuff, because I really believed that, I believed that monogamy was how it was. But monogamy is not natural. That means I'm never going to let myself get emotionally invested that deeply into anybody. Okay, so because a lot of women, the only thing that they can be is a wife, they want to get like all claw and you call it the claws come out. They want to attack women because one woman has a better chance of having someone decent than they do. This is what it really comes down to. Okay, but the fact is, I'm beautiful for myself. I like my green on me. My green looks good against my brown skin. My burgundy is another color that complements my skin. I'm energetic by clothes, okay? I am a single woman, and I'm a single woman forever, okay? A lot of it has to do with this targeting program, okay? And a lot of it has to do with me understanding certain things. And like I said, I'm never going to sit here and argue over a guy. So what else? What else? Yes, I do believe that beauty is important, okay? Now, like I said, I'm not beautiful because there's women who do not wear dental plates. There's women who don't have. I have a chip in my tooth too. I got pissed off because I was at a meeting at BT Trucking and I bit into my plastic cap and then I ended up chipping my tooth. And as soon as I can, I will get that fixed. But in the meantime, whatever. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I think it kind of makes me look cool. Like it shows how tough I am, how much bullshit I have to deal with. You know what I mean? But I understand looks are important. They are. Okay, it tells people how you live. That's why I say if I had a daughter, I would make sure that she took care of herself. And yes, I would want her to wear nice clothes. I would want her to be presentable. Why? Because she's going to be raising up the next generation. That's why. Okay, I don't want my daughter raising or my offspring coming out, with no what do you call it, class, no etiquette, none of that stuff. I want them to be respectable people. Then that message keeps coming out again by divine providence. I've cursed many people because a lot of people were trying to attack my life. That's my choice of lifestyle, okay? Which apparently I must have pissed a lot of people off. That's not my fault. But see, I have the right to live my life how I want. What other message? Okay, the message a lot of people are shocked about is the fact that my politics. Yeah, that's what I believe. You know what I mean? I was never been the kind. See, what I didn't like about politics is a lot of people are very showy about it. They always want to get in arguments about it. And I'm like, instead of getting in arguments about it, if you're happy with your life, just live it. I'm happy with my life. I love the way I live my life. I'm quite happy with it. I'm happy with my views. I'm happy with my outlook, my philosophy. It completely invigorates me. So much so that that's one of the reasons why I wanted to write about it and talk about it and journalize it. You know what I mean? I'm very proud of my views, which I have the right to have. You know what I mean? So I deal with these stupid people who want to target you and cause you problems and all this other stuff. And like I said, I'm done with it. And like I said, to President Trump and everyone else involved, okay, there's that little residual garbage going on with, there could be with this person sending me money, and it might not be, might or might not be, whatever. At this point, like I said, everything that happens to me, I'm blaming it on the trafficking network. I'm blaming it on the religions that created all these problems. If Valley Credit Union is not answering the phone. If your number something to me, there's no reason in the world. If you're providing good customer service, you should be ashamed to say that your number customer 20 something whatever. Okay, like I said, if there's more than 5 people on hold, then you need to bring in more people. Okay, so that's just all I have to say about that. Anyway, what else do I want to say? Yes, I do. I don't believe in showing off about my politics. If I have a way of living, then I'm going to just live it that way. And I have the right to live the way I want to. I'm glad that Christians are getting purged across the United States. And like I said, this is not a religious war on my part. apparently this thing escalated, because Christians are very afraid. And the reason why is because Christians have work ethics that are very damaging to many people. Okay, the reason why a lot of people have psychological problems at work is because of these people. Okay, they treat people like animals. And they also try to give people jobs as a form of discipline when there's no reason to be disciplined. They looked at me. Okay, Rex Laverne wanted to tell me, not to take care of myself, right? He wanted me to change who I was. Meanwhile, he was going to the gym and he wanted to give me a lower title, right? All because of he was secretly in competition with me. Why is it wrong for me to take care of my body, but it's okay for him to have a gym membership? Because he is a crazy, demonic person. And yeah, I could see he had that weird look in his eye. You know what I mean? He's the kind of person that you should be happy about taking off the face of this earth. I can't stand Rex Laverne. He's garbage. So anyway, I think that's it. I think the divine is urging me to head to the library, and unfortunately, I am just not in the mood to do that. You know why? Because I just kind of want to be to myself today. I might, I know that I think that when some of the buses go by certain areas, I just want to kind of walk around outside. If I can go out in the sunlight a little bit, I just want to be out. You know what I mean? The sun is very revitalizing and it replenishes energy. And right now, I feel after being in a discussion with my son, because my son had a couple beers too while we were talking about this, right? So then I found myself having to repeat myself a little bit. And then he was kind of like asking questions. And I kept thinking, are you just asking these questions because you're drinking? Are you really being helpful to me? Or you're just, because I want to make sure. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with drinking beer, but I'm like, when you're drinking beer, we're talking about this, right? I wanted to make sure that, he was being serious instead of being under the influence, okay? So, yeah, we were talking for quite a while, and I was like, ugh, man, this is so draining because I'm talking about work. I want to believe in work again, okay? And it all matters about me meeting the right people and being away from this garbage, okay? So, like I said, I will be making my formal announcement after I get my social media all taken care of, and like I said, I'm tired of being on the computer about the same stuff. Okay. Yeah, the message I'm getting right now is that religion understands where it went wrong. Okay. Just because you made an announcement in the congregation, you need to work harder to fix this problem. Okay. You need to work harder to fix this problem. Okay. Because it's not enough. Okay. We still had that moronic idiot coming to try to, mess with me or whatever. Okay. You did something. You need to fix it, and you need to work overtime to get taken care of. The message I get is about soulmates. Some of us may have been living in different lives together. Like me and Elon Musk could have lived in same timelines at one point. Okay. I also get this message about me increasing my wardrobe at the moment. I'm completely happy with my wardrobe. Mind you, when I do stop in stores, I do look at clothes. I need time to spend. I need to burn time. I need to, I don't like being at home, right? So if I'm out, I'm going to go and look at the clothes, and I will do that. The message I'm also getting is that my topic relating to population control makes sense, meaning like it's agreed. Why should I not stay wearing nice clothes? This does have everything to do with population control. I am not white, and I'm not one of those religions. Thank God. So I am under no obligation to sit here and change my life at the request of an arrogant white person, because that's exactly what it is. You know what I mean? And you better be lucky that I'm not a racist type white black person, because if you were, that would be really sad for you. Okay, I would just rather just kind of ignore you and act like you don't exist. Okay, the other message I got is many people are thanking me because I brought awareness to the targeted individual issue. I was right all along. And I understand nobody wanted to believe me. You know what I mean? But now they do. Okay, so like I said, if you're experiencing this kind of persecution, if you're experiencing this kind of harassment, I know it's very difficult, but you need to throw it out there. You need to make it public knowledge. I think a lot of people are understanding what targeted individuals are. And I know it's very difficult when you are, what do you call it? Being targeted religiously. This was one of the things I was explaining to my son, okay, how vast it is. Okay, it's worldwide. If it's associated with the church made sure that you could not survive anywhere on this planet. Okay, so, and obviously when I addressed Donald Trump, I did so because this is the reason why. Because it's a serious issue. That means that churches are going around killing people. Yes, churches are guilty of genocide. period. Okay, so if you find yourself associated with the church, remember, you need to understand you are fighting for a white agenda. Okay, so this is one of the reasons why when I see Mexicans or black people talking about Christianity, I just look at them like you're a fucking idiot. Okay, that's all you are. Okay, you're a puppet and you're an idiot. Okay, anything else? Oh, I'm supposed to have, everybody thinks I'm going to have an amazing summer. God only knows, I hope so. People are talking about me right now. They understand the importance of getting your nails done now. Good. I'm very glad. You know, I can't even believe I have to explain that. I'm glad that people understand that I want to block out the outside world. That means, you know what? Do not interfere with my shit. Like if you accidentally send me some money, I guess I'm going to accidentally keep it. Okay? Because like I said, I no longer can trust the credit union to do anything correctly. Like I said, and I'm seriously thinking about moving my money out of their bank. Like I said, if you are a organization and you have 20 customers online, you should be ashamed to say that. You should have no more than 5 customers on hold. Unless, of course, you need to start calling in more people. Okay? And I would say, I can't take that chance. I will probably eventually look for another bank. At this point, I'm not a great asset to Valley Strong Credit Union. I only have I think I have $100 in my savings account, and the rest is like $30. And then I have $600 that's not mine, and I ain't touching it. So, either Valley Strong Credit Union, reverses it. I'm not going to do anything. I've already tried calling them, and like I said, when you're a targeted individual, I'm not taking responsibility for anything. Well, like I said, I would say that people play too many games with me, and at this point, I'm not going to give them any response. Okay, so if you are feeling my vibe, definitely be a part of my tribe. I'm talking about targeted individuals. I'm talking about people who are perhaps maybe you have a great business idea and you're at least making enough money, because I'm not going to work with companies that are not making any money. The reason why I say that is because I'm trying to get jobs so that I can make money. And I understand a lot of startups, they're not quite ready to bring on additional help, okay? But if you're somebody who is doing something, you're seeing some growth or whatever, and you're willing to take on somebody who's going to help you as a partner for a temporary amount of time, I'm definitely going to put my name out there. Okay, so I keep getting the message that Twitter is a good idea for my business. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want a bunch of accounts. I don't want to manage a Facebook account and an Instagram and anything else like this. I want to be online as little as I possibly can. I do not like the overstimulation of dealing with people. This is how it is, okay? And like when I start thinking about people, I just like, ugh. All right, so I am going to figure out something to do for the rest of the day, okay? I might just get on the bus and go from one point to another. I don't know what I'm going to do. I just want to get out of here. I am not ashamed of who me and my father are. I am very proud to say that me and my father were on a good spiritual path, okay? We lived great lives, okay? And we do great things, and I'm very proud of the choices that I've made, and there's nothing that anybody can do to change that. Nothing, okay? Wrapping up this video. Take care. Bye-bye.